am so excited to take you through the process of how to drape this beautiful shawl collar design. I could not resist the urge. I had to make one for myself. So let's get right into it. So here is what I have so far. From here to here is 4 inches. I'm going to use this for my neckline extension. And from here to here is for my button stand. This one is 3 inches because I want to do like a wrap effect at the front. But if you want just a little bit of button stand, from here to here can be 2 inches and you'll be fine. I'm going to start constructing my pattern, the rest of my pattern from here. So this is the box I'll be working with. Just so that this video is not too long, I'm going to go ahead now and make my basic bodice backstage and come back. So this is what my pattern looks like after I plotted my basic bodice. I also went ahead to add some extra paper to this front piece to make it 5 inches. Just because one side of the dress overlaps the other, I need it to be as wide as possible. But you can leave yours at 2 to 4 inches depending on how wide you want it. What we're going to do now is to determine where you want your shawl collar to rest. If you look at this particular dress, the shawl collar is resting somewhere close to the under bust area. So usually between the bust line and the other bust line is perfect. But if you also want, you can extend up to the waistline. That's like the lowest you can go. But for this style that I'm working with, I'm just going to find out where my under bust line is. So I'm going to measure that out. My under bust is 13 inches. So here is 13 inches. But I want to go slightly higher. So I'll go up by 1 inch. That will be 12 inches. So this is my 12 inches mark. I'm going to make a straight line at this point. So here is where I want my shawl collar to rest. Then the next thing you're going to do is to determine how wide you want the front extension. For me, I think about 3.5 inches is fine. So I'll go ahead and mark my 3.5. Then what I'm going to do is to connect from this point down to this point. Sorry you can't see this place very well. It is because of the tape that I'm using. It's the glossy transparent one, so it's not easy to write on. I hope you can see this line. Then after doing this, I want to extend this line up so that we can draft our back neckline. And this is how I'm going to do that. I am going to extend this line all the way up. Then the next thing we're going to do is to measure the height of our extension. So I'm going to get my back pattern now and measure my back neckline. I'm going to measure from my basic neckline now. My back is about 3.25 inches. Then I'm going to mark that here. But just to create some ease around this neckline, we're going to go in by 0.5 inch. We're going to reconnect that back to our neckline. You can use a straight ruler as well. I want to use like this curve. Then I'm just going to mark again my neckline height from the back as I've measured it. Next thing to do is to draw out our back neckline height. This, we're going to make a line here, but it's going to be slanted. It's not going to be straight. So I'll go ahead and do that now. As you can see, the line is slanted. It is not straight. Then we're going to mark what your collar height is going to be. For me, I think I'm okay with 3.5 inches. You can use 3 inches, you can use 4. I don't know about 5, but depending on how wide you want it, I think between 3 and 4 inches is usually perfect most times. Then I went down to my front extension and marked 1.5 inches. I'm going to connect that back to my back neckline height. And this is what I have. Then to achieve that curve, I'm going to bring my curved ruler like this. And I'm going to make a curve. And I just want some fullness around this area. So I'll come in with my curved ruler. So I'll come in with my curved ruler like this. So here's going to be my short collar now. So I'm going to also erase this line so you can see clearly what I have. And this, guys, is my collar. Then what you're going to do now is to mark your front extension. The one I'm working with is 3.5. I'm going to extend that point. With this, we're almost done with our shawl collar. I'm cleaning up all the lines I don't need just so that you can see what we have clearly. So this way, I know that this is what my pattern looks like. So what I'm going to do is now to add 0.5 inch allowances across all these places. Depending on the kind of fit you are going for, if you want to add like shoulder pads to your pattern, I'm going to show you now what you're going to do. But if you're not going to add any shoulder pad, you can leave your pattern like this, just add your sewing allowances. But if you're adding shoulder pad to your outfit, you're going to come up by 0.25 at the tip here, and you connect it back to your shoulder line. This is going to create room for your pad to sit. After doing this, you're going to and this extension that you have just done will allow your jacket to sit better when you add your shoulder pads. I have gone ahead to open up my pattern so that I can construct the rest of the dress. So what I'm doing now is to measure my hip point. That's the distance between my waist and the fullest part of my hip. And on that point, I'm going to be making a straight line. Then I'll go ahead and label that as my hip line. Then from the hip line, you are going to measure the length of your dress. The next thing to do is to insert your circumference measurement. But please note, when you divide your bust, your waist and your hip divided by 4, please add an extra 0.25 as an ease allowance. For example, my bust is 34 inches. 34 divided by 4 is 8.5 inches. I'm going to add 0.25 to my 8.5 inches, which will now leave me at 8.75 inches, and that is what I'm going to be marking on my pattern. So you do the same for your waist and your hip, just so that you have extra ease to your dress. This is a standard procedure when you are making shirts and blazers. I hope you get that. After I've inserted all my circumference measurements, I want to also add my sewing allowance, and what I'm doing here is to eliminate all the pointed corners. For the sake of those it might be useful to, I will leave this video to play for a while so that you see how I am adding my allowances to the rest of the pattern little by little. Then afterwards we'll finish up with the rest of the pattern. So what is left for us to do is to take care of our darts. And what I'm going to do is to extend my dart line all the way down to the length of my dress. Then I go upwards by 2 inches on the hip line, just so that I don't eat into my hip measurement. Then I'm going to connect my waist dart to my hip. Now that we're done doing that, we're going to extend this line also to our shoulder. That will make this mini dress to be a two-piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the midpoint between this place and this place. This is 5 inches, so the midpoint will be at 2.5. And I'm going to connect that to this place. So I'm going to cut through like this, like that, because I'm not going to be sewing a side dart on this dress. So I'm going to slash this place open up to this point. If your pattern does not have a side dart, not to worry, it is not going to affect the overall
I'm going to just do is to
of your dress. As far as your
side
pattern
dart
is okay, you are good to go, so you can skip this step. So I'm going to use my tape to tape that down. Now that we're done with that, I'm just going to cut out my darts. Then I'll cut out the rest of the pattern. With that, we have come to the end of today's episode.
My pattern
Thank you
is
for
now
coming along with me. If you made it this far,
there's a little sharpness around it. I'm just going to trim
share
that
this
out.
video with your friends. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to drop them in the chat box, and I'll be glad to answer them. You can also follow me on the social media handles displayed on your screen. See you all in my next video. Bye.